Welcome back to the channel. Today we got something different. This is a dragon fruit. That's what we're gonna make, dragon fruit wine. Let's just get into this video and show you how to make dragon fruit wine, one of my most requested wines to make on this channel.
Whoa, how you gonna step in line?
Tip of the day, get organic. You can get these in a lot of the grocery stores. These are very hard to find in my area, northern United States, and they're very expensive. For these two, I think it was like 25 bucks. So, but I know a lot of yous, like my international winemakers, these are growing in your backyard because this comes from a cactus. This is what's cut off. There's many different varieties. This is the oval kind. This is going to have that white center to it. But then there's a round kind. There's one that's a red dragon fruit. And then I saw some purples out there. This recipe will work for any kind you use. Here is some of our additives we're going to use in this wine. We're going to show you as we use these, but I got links in the description, but also we just opened our Amazon store. Make sure you check that. Everything you see on this channel is in there. This is an interesting fact. These are ripened before they're picked. They have to ripe on the cactus plant. Once they're ripe on there, they get shipped all over the world or picked out of your backyard. So what you want to do is when you're looking for one, you want to just use your thumb and press it a little bit. There should be a little give. That's when you know it's ready, and that's when you know you have a fresh dragon fruit. Now, let's show you how we're going to cut this and how to prepare this for our wine. And also in our Amazon store is a lot of fun stuff. We've got recommendations, we got reviews we've done in there. We've got Laura and Todd's favorite Amazon stuff, and I want to know what yours is because I will put links to your stuff as well. Something that's over the top. Now, you've seen me sanitize many times on this channel. It is something you gotta do. I got a whole video on sanitation, so I'm not gonna bore you, but just know, you gotta sanitize in the winemaking hobby. Now, one thing about dragon fruit, it is very healthy. It is high in vitamin C, and anytime you can get dragon fruit or any of your fruit, make sure you're buying organic. And also when you're using fresh, buy organic. All right, before I cut the real dragon fruit, I'm using frozen and fresh today. We want 3 to 4 pounds per gallon. I'm making a 1 gallon batch. These bags are about 2 pounds. So I'm gonna use 2 of these because that'll be 4 pounds. And I know I'm gonna put some extra in as well. I'm not gonna put all that fresh in because I want some to eat for here. Look at that. That is the red mango. Can you see that? It's beautiful. These over here, you're gonna see are gonna have the white pulp. It all works the same for making dragon fruit wine. All right, look at this board. Somebody made us this, engraved this for it. I love the thing. I'm gonna use it today. If you wanna get one of them, contact Laura on Instagram. She can give you the hookup for this guy. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut our mango here. And I got my knife here. I'm just gonna sanitize. You wanna sanitize all your equipment, including your cutting board, just like that. Now what we're gonna do, you wanna cut both ends off like this. And you wanna get it down to where you see some of the color there, that white part. I'm gonna cut a little bit more. Like that. Okay, so there we go. We're gonna do the same to the other side. Oh, and you can really see that. Do you see how this is white? And then this was the red. We've got our ends cut here. What we're gonna do now is cut this lengthwise, just like this. And look at that color. Is that beautiful? That is what dragon fruit looks like. And it smells good. Again, this comes off of a cactus. So now all you want to do is you want to take this red here and we're just going to peel this off. Just like this. I hope you can see this. My camera's catching all this. There we go. That is the meat of our dragon fruit that we're gonna add in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do both of these. I already got my 4 pounds of dragon fruit. This is just gonna be extra because I wanted to show you how to peel one of these dragon fruits. So then all we're gonna do is we want it chunked up into about 1-inch pieces or so. And we're gonna put it in with our others. We got the white and we got the red. There we go, get it in our bowl. What the heck, let's just cut our other one up too. I know I'm not gonna eat that this week, so I might as well put it into the wine to get this flavor going. Look at that, that's just beautiful. I love dragon fruit. If I keep saying mango, forgive me. All right, cut her in half, just like that. That's what it looks like right there. And then we're just gonna peel this. You wanna just peel the red off. And one thing again, what you wanna do is you wanna make sure you're washing any fruits that you're using in winemaking. We got them mixed, we got the red and we got the white. And you know, like I said, it's not gonna matter. But what I wanna do is, I gotta taste this. I want to see if you taste the difference between, this is the white. I don't know how to describe it. I guess it's real close to a kiwi. And then you got the little pieces of red. Now, one thing I will tell you, the red is a lot more sweeter than the white kind. I don't know if that's normal. I'm not a dragon fruit. Again, it's hard to get in my area, so I don't make this very often. Let's just get on it and stop the rambling. Now, you all know we need sugar to make wine. So I got my sugar here. I've got my scale. All we want to do is open this up, and all we're going to do is we want 2 pounds of sugar for every gallon of wine. That's all we need. And then we'll get it dissolved on the stove. All right, I got equal parts of water here, so I'm just gonna fill this. Basically, there is no exact measurements. We're just trying to get this dissolved. When we get to the ABV part, that's when we'll dial this in. I'll show you. That's coming up. All right, we got our heat on. Now all we're going to do is keep stirring this until it turns crystal clear. And I've shown you many times, so I don't want to bore you with all this, but it will be basically right before the boiling point. I'll show you here at the end, but that's all we're going to do is constantly stir this and don't boil or don't burn your sugar. All right, there you can kind of see. Do you see how clear that is? I'm not scraping any sugar. That means it's time to let this cool to room temperature and get the heat off. That's as clear as we want, and we're not boiling. That's key. All right, it's time to get some of our additives in here. These are the additives we're gonna need. I'll show you as we go, but one thing that's missing, if you see in the back there, that is sodium metabisulfite. We're gonna use that instead of Camden tablets. It's one and the same, but I'm out of Camden tablets. Finally, it's time to put all this together. I got all my additives down here, and we're gonna start adding these. I like to put them at the bottom of my bucket, and the reason I do that in case I have a mishap. But let's start with this, yeast nutrient. We want a 1/2 teaspoon per gallon. We're following the recipe for a 1 gallon batch, so I want one of these. I've got recipes for a 3-5 gallon batches as well in the description. So you can just look down there depending on the size batch you're making. The next thing we've got here is pectic enzyme. This is going to help with hazing in our wine. I want a 1/2 teaspoon of this per gallon. So again, 1 gallon batch, 1/2 teaspoon. The next thing we've got, wine tannin. We're not using grapes to make wine, so I'm going to add wine tannin to get it that depth of the wine that we want. So I want a 1/2 teaspoon of this per gallon. So there we go, 1/2 teaspoon. Now, acid blend is a must because it's going to balance our acids in our wine. Remember, dragon fruit has a lot of vitamin C in it. So what we're going to do is add this, and I'm just going to put a 1/2 teaspoon of this in as well. There we go. In every one of my recipes before, you've seen me use Camden tablets. Camden tablets are nothing but sodium metabisulfite. It's just an easier measuring form to do that. Like I said, I ran out, so I have this on hand, and I'm gonna put this in instead. A Camden tablet has the perfect measurement to use 1 tablet per gallon. So this one you gotta be a little bit tricky with. Now, it says on the package, use a 1/4 teaspoon for a 6 gallon of must. Now, we're only making a 1 gallon batch. The conversion of that is you want less. The smallest thing I got here is 1/8 of a teaspoon. We only want to use half of that, which is about 1/16. I don't know if you can see it, but it's just a very little bit. That's all we need of the powdered form. Where I really want to use this is in the bottling stage, because since it's powdered, it's going to blend in and incorporate it. So you're going to see me when we get to the bottling stage, we're going to use this instead of Camden tablets. So now what we got is we got our mesh bag here, which anytime you're making wine from fruit, you'll always want to use a mesh bag because it's going to help us get all this pulp out here that you can see from the dragon fruit. So I'm going to put this in our mesh bag carefully, just like that. All right, get a little bit of a close-up. Here's our simple syrup that I'm going to add in, and we're just going to dump this all in to our mesh bag, just like this. Now all we want to do is we want to draw up our mesh bag here and seal it up real well, because we don't want any of that pulp getting out if possible. And just for precaution, I like to twist this up, and I'll put a twist tie on here because I want, again, this is just making our job easier when we go to rack this to get all that pulp out. So that's what I mean. That's what I'll use this twist tie here for. There we go. Now what we want to do is we're going to add water to this, and we're going to test our ABV. I'm going to get a better shot of this here. Let's move this. Now, I got a sanitized paddle. Remember we got those additives at the bottom? I'm just going to mix them up a little bit in this stage. We're going to be stirring this wine, so if you don't get it all mixed up, that's just fine. But that's what we want to do. Now you can see the water here is very low. I think this is going to come up to about here. So what we want to do, a little at a time. If you're not used to doing this, make sure you're taking your time and not putting too much water in it. So I'm just going to add it up to where I think I want to test this as I go. There, we'll start with that. And we're going to stir that water in, and then we're going to get our hydrometer and stick it in here. Hopefully we can float it. Again, just mixing that water. Make sure you're stirring it before you test it. You don't want to just test the water sitting on top. So, but you can see the ABV here. You got to make sure you're reading on the right side. There, we're at a potential yet of 20%. I hope I don't need a bigger bucket. Let's just add more water and see where we can bring it up. We're going to go to about 1 inch from the top and see where that is. We're about 16%. I think that's going to be good enough. There we go. I'll show you a close up here, but I got it down to 15%. Remember, I put extra fruit in here. That's why I'm having the problem, is because I put probably 5 to 6 pounds of fruit, but remember, you only need 3 to 4. So there we go. We just made dragon fruit wine. I tell you one thing, it smells really good. I'm just going to give this one final stir, and then we're going to get our airlock on here, scraping the bottom as we go, because we want to get all those additives mixed in. Make sure if you see something you like here, check out our store, because I got all this stuff in there. So now what I want to do is get the airlock on it and our lid and get it sanitized. Let me get that and get this stick. We're done with this for today. You notice one thing we did not put in. We did not put our yeast in. You gotta wait 24 hours because this here will kill the yeast that we put in. So that's why we gotta wait 24 hours. So if you're using this or Camden tablets, make sure you're waiting. So I'll see you tomorrow after I get this lid and stuff on. Sanitize. See you in 24. And make sure you fill this up to the proper level. You want it about the water and about midpoint for this style of airlock that I have. All right, it's been 24 hours. It's time to get this wine open and get our yeast in here. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, I hope you can see that. Now, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix this up a little bit just to get everything again incorporated, but it's looking incredible. And now that's it. Just get it oxygen in here. That's what we want at this stage of the game. Now, you know, if you watch this channel, this is the only wine yeast I use. Red Star, the Red Pack, the Champagne. I just love it. It never fails. And we're just gonna open it and get it into our dragon fruit wine. This is enough for a 5 to 6 gallon batch. We only got a 1 gallon, probably a little bit more because we put some extra fruit in it. And all we're gonna do is use a half a pack, and we're just gonna put it where I see liquid. We're not gonna stir it anymore at this point. We're just gonna let it do its thing, and then we'll come back in 24 hours and get it stirred in. That's about a half a pack. That's plenty. Get our lid back on and see you in 24. I bet we're gonna see some fermentation and some foaming. All right, it's time to get the dragon fruit wine open. It's been 24 hours since we put that yeast in. I'm hoping we're seeing some foam at this point, but it's only been 1 day. So let's see. There, oh yeah, we got foam. See all this? This is what you want. You wanna see foam. We're pushing this yeast down in at this point, and you can smell the yeast. That's how you know it's working. So I'm just gonna give it a quick stir. We're gonna do this for the next couple of days. I probably won't bore you with that. I'll show you the finished result. Get everything closed up and sealed up again. That's all we wanna do. All right, it's been 24 hours since we added that yeast. I wanna open this up and stir it. Remember, we're gonna stir this for a couple of days. But do you notice the airlock? It's not moving. Don't be alarmed. I got a whole video on stuck fermentation. This is not stuck. This is an equipment failure. Because if we see foam in here, which I'm gonna show you, it's working. So don't panic. A lot of times, these buckets don't seal properly, especially these 1 gallon batches. And I know from opening this that it's fermenting because it smells just like yeast. Where's my squirt bottle? Sanitize. So there, you can see some foam working in there. All this is yeast hard at work. We're introducing oxygen every time we open that. Yeast needs oxygen. That is a must. So here we go. I'm not gonna bore you. Let's just fast forward this to where it's ready to get racked. Part 2 coming soon.
Whoa.